Yammin is not here. Again.
He's unreliable.
Yammin is a flaky boy. Not in a Dandruff kind of way, but in a absent and present kind of way, where just when you need him most, he vanishes, much like the Avatar. He's gone. He forgot his mic, actually, and he was going to try and do this through the mic in his headphones or something, and it sounded awful, so he's not allowed back on the podcast until he gets his mic back. So if you want Yammin to be on next week, make sure you tweet at him, tell him to bring his mic to class with him.
Did you want to start with The Incredibles 2 thing because you just watched the trailer completely?
The Incredibles 2? Sure, why not? The Incredibles 2 had a new trailer, and it was pretty interesting. It seems to deal with single parenting, which is cool, and a troubled marriage, which is also an interesting angle, I guess. Kind of real.
It's weird.
It looks really good, but I was just talking with Patrick about this earlier. It looks the way I thought The Incredibles looked in my head. Like when you remember scenes from The Incredibles, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks great, whatever. And I watched the trailer for The Incredibles 2, and I was like, oh yeah, it looks exactly the same as the first Incredibles. Then I went back on YouTube and watched some scenes from the original Incredibles. My oh my, has not aged very well in some aspects. Like, definitely you can tell that they rendered that movie on like a PlayStation 2 or something.
It looked good at the time.
Definitely, absolutely. But at
now
the
you
time
can see,
was
like,
10 years ago.
The hairs on the sweater of Mr. Incredible, like, it's so much better now. It's crazy.
Yeah, at the time, that movie came out in like 2005, right?
Yeah, that movie's so good.
Yeah, that was fucking 13 years ago. It's kind of weird in a way. I think that they're making this now because it's been so long. I don't know why they didn't make it sooner. No, shit, The Incredibles came out in 2004. Jesus.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess now is a good time with superheroes being huge and stuff, obviously. But I don't know. Do you think it's a worthwhile sequel? Like, do you think they're just doing this for the money, or do you think they had actually a really good idea that they wanted to deliver on?
You don't even need to ask that question. It's Disney. But like, I really, really like the first movie, and I like a lot of animated movies, but that movie was so clever and so smart. It just feels like an actual movie. If it was replaced with actors like on the real world, then it's still like fantastic, and it would have been touted as like, oh, this is the best superhero movie ever. It still, to me, is the best superhero movie ever, just because the time they picked to set it in and all the characters and everything is so good. But people will hear that from me and they'll be like, oh, it's a kid's movie. What are you talking about? What about the Avengers? What about Christian Bale's Batman? It's like, this is different. This is like,
yeah. The
The
Incredibles was amazingly original. It was an incredible movie, and it was also really unique and novel and creative. Like, it was a really good original concept where you have this family of ex-superheroes, and then they're like kind of all pulled back into it, and it's all about the kids are superheroes now too. Like, that's an interesting concept. Like, back in 2004, we had superhero movies, but they weren't nearly at the same level as they are now, and they still managed to come up with such an original idea. So, like, if The Incredibles 1 never existed and it came out today, everyone would be like, wow, this is exactly what the genre needed right now. Like, this is so different from your typical run-of-the-mill like Marvel movie, right?
It's the Fantastic Four. It's Fantastic Four, just done very well.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, like, kind of deconstructed and more. It focuses
Absolutely.
a lot
I'm just
on
saying,
the family
like,
aspect.
Some of my favorite parts my favorite parts are them talking about different superheroes and the lore behind the whole world, because I love stupid shit like that. That's the stuff that I focus on, and the fact that it's set like in the 60s and the 50s or whatever, and then it jumps forward.
I don't think it is it?
It is. It's set like when Mr. Incredible is like at his peak when he's young. I believe that's the 60s or 50s.
Yeah. I thought you meant like the modern
or the 30s or something. It's like there's a chunk of time
60s,
in the past, and then the rest of the movie is played forward in like the 75s or whatever like that. It's just an interesting period of time because that's like superheroes are, you know, the king of the world, and then it's just like, now superheroes are living among us. It was like all this propaganda and the government involvement stuff was just like, oh my god, this is a kid's movie? This is so interesting. I'm really into this. Watching it as an adult was so much more gratifying because I could understand so much more of the humor and like the agent that was saying is like, maybe we could relocate you. When I was a kid, I didn't know what that meant. Relocate me is just like, do I get to live somewhere else now? What are the implications of that? I didn't know. But now, god, it's a fucking good movie.
Yeah. One thing I'm kind of worried about is how it was kind of a thing in the original movie that Jack didn't have powers, and then in like an after credit scene or something, it turned out that he had like these crazy powers.
87 powers, yeah.
Yeah, they released some sort of short where he was being babysat and his powers come out, and like yeah, that was great. And that was like a fun little, you know, joke after the fact, after the movie was already finished. But now that this movie takes place afterwards, they have to deal with the fact that Jack has powers. It's not going to be like a little fun Easter egg. So I wonder what they're going to do with that, you know?
I mean, in the movie proper, they showed him using his powers to get away from Syndrome in the very end, remember?
Oh. Yeah, you're right. I don't remember.
He turned into iron and like turned into a little monster and grabbed out his hair,
yeah.
burst into flames. I just want him to be like, I'm imagining this kid growing up and being like a god. Like he's shooting lightning, he's blowing things up with his mind.
Yeah, actually, they should be very worried. He's like the Legion of
That's why it was
universe.
like I almost wanted them to realize he had powers and then for him to be captured, because it was both that their child has been taken away and that if Syndrome raises him, he would become unstoppable. Like no hero could stop him. That would be so cool. I mean, I like the other movie the way it is, but yeah, it's all been really neat. And this movie kind of, I'm worried it's gonna go like the Minions, Despicable Me, like silly, stupid fart humor, stuff like that, which I really don't want. I really don't want them to do that.
Don't need it at all.
You know, but I'm not one of those people who go on Twitter and say, like, all these kids better get out of the theater when I get in there. It's just like, shut the fuck up. It's a kid's movie.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Like, the original Incredibles had lots of just great, clever humor that wasn't reliant upon, like, kids being dumb. Like, there's that scene, obviously, where Frozone is, like, arguing with his wife, like, oh, where is my super suit? Like, that's, like, one of the best, like, funniest scenes ever. And there's plenty of other moments like that as well with, like, Edna Mode. She's, like, a great
Edna Mode is my favorite character in the world.
Yeah.
I always thought that her character was, when she says, I used to design for gods, and she, like, puts her hand up to show the statue, I was thinking, is her character, like, her power is immortality or something? And she used to live in, like, I don't know, like Greece or something, and they used to think that these heroes that had powers were the gods.
Yeah.
That's where we get gods from, and they used to design costumes from. It's just like, this is the stuff that I think about all the time when watching stupid movies like this.
That's actually a really clever idea, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some, like, lore thing. Honestly,
or maybe she just thinks of heroes as gods, and that's I used to design for gods. I don't know.
It's pretty cool because the Incredibles could be such a larger universe. Like, they could really milk it for all it's worth. But the fact that we're finally just getting a sequel, like, 14 years after the fact, makes me hopeful that they've actually taken their time with this. Because, honestly, I wouldn't have been opposed to seeing, like, an Incredibles cinematic universe in, like, an animated Pixar sense. In the similar way to have with the
standalone movie.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's have a fucking Frozone movie. Why not have a movie back set in the 60s or wherever when the superheroes were at their peak? I want to see the movies where the government is starting to, like, regulate and take down superheroes, and then let's get a fucking Incredibles Civil War movie taking place in the 60s and 70s. Like, that'd be cool as shit. There's so much you could do with that concept.
Like, I want to know when Elastigirl learned to fly a jet. Like, was she contracted by the government to go, like, be inserted into Vietnam or something and, like, go on, like, secret missions to retrieve intelligence? It's like, why does she know all this stuff? And who's this guy who gave her the jet? It's like, who are these people? But the fact that they leave it unexplained is what makes it so interesting.
And do they ever talk about what superheroes did during the wars, like World War II and Vietnam and stuff? Or is that never brought up?
Cool. Oh my god, that would be amazing. I know that they had like in one of the cutscenes where they, I think when Ed is talking about capes, they had the guy who has the rocket pointed at the city. I think like there are allusions that they fought other villains that were, I don't know, like Axis powers, like Captain Axis, and then he punched him right in the face and he got him, whatever, you know. I figure that they didn't send them into battle. That would have been fucking awesome, though.
Yeah, they would have been overpowered as shit.
Captain, like, Mr. Incredible gets drafted, and he goes in and he starts lifting tanks and throwing them, and it's just like, there was some shit that I saw.
That's what that was one of my favorite parts about the Watchmen movie, is just seeing that, oh, this is what happens when America has superheroes and we send them into war, like
Vietnam. Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan just like vaporizes everyone, and then like you got not the Joker, the comedian, just like kind of doing his thing on the side and being an asshole generally, but like the real star is Dr. Manhattan, who just vaporizes people by pointing at them. Like that was like really awesome to see, but also kind of fucked up because I don't know, just mindless like killing. It was a slaughter basically. It wasn't even a war. It was just they sent like, here, Dr. Manhattan, go slaughter all these like Viet Cong soldiers so we can win the war and defeat communism or some shit.
I know that like having a modern superhero set movie is interesting, but I don't know why that like from 1900 to 2000, like any time between then, set, or maybe like 1900 to like 1980, like just like that section of time having superheroes involved is so interesting to me. Like with 100%. Watchmen and Incredibles, I get the same feeling of like costumed heroes going in to save the world for America, and Nixon is the president, and like all this stuff is going on in the war on drugs and violence in the streets, and you know, the love-ins and all that of the 70s. It's just like all this stuff is packed into this movie about superheroes, and it's so interesting. Like Rorschach being basically a homicidal maniac that has the idea that he's, you know, fighting crime, and has all these biblical weird verses of, you know, and the scum will, you know, boil up to their eyes and they'll say, help me, and I will whisper, no. It's just like, what kind of superhero is this? Because a villain as fuck. Like, there's no way that he's a hero.
100%. Have you read the new Watchmen comics?
Oh, yeah.
Doomsday
I've
Clock?
seen a comic story and summarizing them. I really like the idea of Rorschach meeting Batman, and that's pretty much where he just dropped off.
Oh, okay. I like that idea, too. I'll have to watch the comic story video, but yeah.
I know a lot of people were mad, though, because, spoiler, I guess, but nobody's going to read this. Doomsday Clock, the new Rorschach is just some guy who happens to be black. And I like that because it's just like Rorschach isn't a person, he's a mantle, and just people pick up the mask and become Rorschach. Yeah. And people got really upset about it. Of course they did.
Just because he ended up being black.
But is Rorschach the guy under the mask, or is Rorschach the mask? I feel like he's the mask. It doesn't matter what color
Rorschach
he is.
The mask. Like, yeah, Rorschach's definitely one of those heroes where you can swap in and out anyone. Like, I'm trying to think. Were people mad? I know people were mad when Thor became
I love that
Jane
outfit,
Austen
I love that
or whatever.
Outfit.
She-Thor? Jane Thor?
Jane something.
Yeah, when she became Thor. I know people were mad about that. I know people were mad when Captain America became black. And I don't know if people were mad when Iron Man became black.
Riri Williams.
Yeah, Riri Williams, even though she's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there will always be a stupid anti-SJW crowd or whatever, but I think it's cool, like,
I think
character bending these superheroes.
Character bending, I understand why some of the people are mad. There are also groups of people who are like, fucking, you get that black woman out of that Iron Man suit. I'm a horrible, disgusting idiot. But there are also people who are just like, why just swap these characters out when you can create another character? But no one reads the new character. No one is paying attention to the new character. And so then they get, you know, scrapped. Like, Static Shock got scrapped like 6 different times. He had a really long-running TV show, but his comics didn't get read. Nobody read his comics. It was fucking travesty because his character is so interesting. Like, he recently built, I don't know, I think it was Kid Flash's new suit because he's working at Star Labs or something in the recent comics. It's like, that's fucking cool. Virgil, what are you doing now? But nobody cares. Like, so that's why people are pushing to have representation in these comics by swapping out different characters. And it's totally fine with me. I don't care. Just make a cool comic.
Yeah. Like, I think I would have a little more of a problem if they turned Captain America black and they also called him Steve Rogers and they made him have the same origin. Like, here's Steve Rogers, a black man going to fight in World War II. Here's how he gets his superpowers, by being injected with shit. He also has a best friend named Bucky Barnes. I mean, I wouldn't care, but also I know what you mean. I know what you mean entirely. Like, that's just like
it is lazy. It is lazy. But for me, I don't really think I'm like not paying attention so much that like this change would make a difference for me. I don't care if you want to make a change and like. Something that really annoyed me was the whole Captain America as a Hydra agent now, just because they wanted people. That's obviously just a ploy to get people to read comics again.
Didn't they end up reversing that at the end of that arc or something?
So the Tesseract, the Ice Cube thing, the Power Stone, whatever the fuck it's called, the cube of power. It got taken by the Red Skull, and then the Red Skull, it became a little girl, like the Power Cube became a little girl, and the Red Skull raised the little girl and taught her that the best way to do things is with Hydra, and so she wiped the entire clean slate, like slate clean, and turned Captain America into a Hydra agent, like wiped his whole history clean and made him so that his mother didn't want him to be an artist. She wanted him to be an agent of Hydra, and she, they were saved by Hydra at one point, and that, pushed Captain America to, work for Hydra, and this, like, his whole history was rewritten. And then he took over S.H.I.E.L.D. and, like, locked out all of the other superheroes from Earth, and there's a whole war. And then suddenly there was a rift of the same kind of energy that the little girl came from, and the actual Captain America came out, and everybody was like, "Yay! Yay!" And then he punched out the Hydra Captain America, and then the whole thing was over. It was so dumb.
That sounds really fucking dumb.
It is really
yeah. But I like when they gender or character bend heroes who are like already pre-established characters. Like, these characters don't come out of nowhere. Like, Jane is an established character in Thor. She's Natalie Portman in the Thor movies, if people don't remember. She becomes Thor. Like, that's cool. That's interesting. Riri Williams was, I believe, like a Stark Industries like intern or something, and she was like this brilliant, gifted engineer that Tony was like.
She developed her own suit and started fighting crime, and so Tony Stark took her under his wing.
Yeah,
excuse you.
Yeah, something like that. But she worked at Stark Industries, from what I have heard and read on the internet. I don't actually read enough comics to know this shit, but yeah. So I think what,
a character that came out that is, well, it's in the Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen.
Oh,
people
yeah,
love Spider-Gwen.
People do love Spider-Gwen. Yeah, people also love Miles Morales.
Miles Morales is my favorite fucking character in the world.
Yeah, he's great.
His suit is so cool.
Yeah. How do you feel about that Into the Spider-Verse animated movie?
I love that, but I hate fucking Sony.
Yeah,
I don't trust them at all.
I'm super like apprehensive because
why? Oh, it looks so good though.
It's weird that they're like trying to still launch their own Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man is on loan to the MCU, and they're like, all right, we're gonna make a Venom movie without Spider-Man, and we're also gonna make an animated Spider-Man movie, but not in the MCU. It's just Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen and any other.
No, Peter was in there too. You saw him in the trailer. He was like, yeah.
Okay.
When he was on the bus station,
well, it's like
Miles
animated,
Morales
so it
says
count.
like, shut up. It does count. It does count to me. Miles Morales says like, so how many of us are there? And he's talking to some taller person. Like, I assume that's Peter Parker. And he's like, has hung up the tights, and now Miles Morales has gotten bitten by a spider and has to do his own adventures. That'd be really cool.
It's like Spider-Man Beyond, in a way.
No. Well, there's Spider-Man 2099,
like
which is kind of like that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think of Miles Morales as I like seeing him and Peter Parker in the same comics because it's just two people who are making fun of the situation and like not acting seriously, and they like the banter bounces off of each other. Like, there was a recent comic which I think I sent you guys on Instagram, which was Miles and Peter are fighting robots, and then after they fight, there's some rubble on the ground, and then Miles is like, so who cleans this up? And then Peter's just like, oh, I don't. We don't. That's not our job. And then Peter starts to walk away, and then Miles says like, so are you okay with me? And then Peter says it's like being Spider-Man, and then Miles is like, yeah. And then he's just like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of annoying that you have a better costume than me, but yeah. And then Miles says like, so do I have your, and then Peter says, blessing? Absolutely, entirely. And then he swings away. And it's just like, aw, so cute. I love this.
What if he was just like, no, stop being Spider-Man. Come up with your own fucking superhero.
Peter would make a joke about that.
I feel like some clever comic writer is gonna be like, I'm gonna own the internet trolls and write a meta comic about how dumb they are.
That was The Last Jedi, wasn't it?
What was?
Just making a bunch of plot decisions based on the opposite of what the internet wanted. You want to know who Snoke is? He's dead. Shut up.
I feel like, I don't know, I kind of like that though.
No,
I was kind of like,
the moment was cool, but for the plot purposes, what?
I mean,
let's not do that. Let's not go back into Last Jedi. I'm just gonna start yelling at you.
All right,
so the Incredibles.
Let's talk about something else we might yell about. Well, Incredibles 2.
Can we yell about Chris Brown being a fucking idiot?
Sure. sure. That ties into
Black Panther.
Black Panther, which is the hubbub of the week, and everyone seems to love it. And it's an important cultural event. I saw it over the weekend, and I thought it was good and great. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the soundtrack was fucking awesome, actually. Like, Kendrick is always amazing, obviously, and a lot of the collabs with like the Weekend, Run the Jewels, etc. are amazing. Probably one of the best soundtracks ever.
I completely forgot that there was a soundtrack, and we actually have a question related to whether or not we listen to it. I have passively. I was going on the, like, I ran out of skips on Spotify, and I went to just For You playlist, and I shuffled it, and a bunch of those songs came on, and I really like most of them, and I added it to my playlist. So
yeah. I remember when the first single from that came out. It was like Kendrick Lamar and SZA. I don't know how you fucking say her name.
Step Into the Spotlight.
SZA. It was All the Stars, and I was like, oh, this is not that interesting. But now I really like that song, so it grew on me. So I'd have to say, soundtrack is amazing. The movie's also great.
Show me my respect.
I really like...
I love Vince Staples' voice.
I love Vince Staples. He's good. He was great on Hot Ones, but that's besides the point. I really liked Michael B. Jordan. I thought he was easily the best part of the movie.
His points made sense. He
made so much sense. I was like, he's kind of right though.
Can we spoil it though? Why did he have to die? I don't understand that.
Okay, well, spoiler alert.
I didn't understand it at all.
It would be obvious that he had to.
Can't they come to some? No,
he did have to die. I argued this point in class today, actually, because we were reading a review about Black Panther from my arts criticism class, and this art critic was like, it was ridiculous that Killmonger had to die when Loki has lived like so many goddamn times. And I'm like, yeah, but like
what?
That's stupid. Like, Loki should have died.
No.
Yeah, but I love him, and I wish he didn't have to die. But at the same time, it'd be weird if he didn't. Like,
so to you,
what?
I was gonna say to you, what are the two conflicting points in this movie?
Like, what are the conflicting ideologies of the movie?
Because Black Panther's whole thing, he's fighting against Killmonger sort of taking over and basically sharing the information of Wakanda with everybody. Why are you fighting against that? That's not a real righteous thing to fight for.
Well, not only that, that's not entirely it. Like, that was one of his points, which I agree with, and obviously Black Panther ends up realizing he's right, and he should do that, and he should share like resources with other African people in the world. But something people tend to gloss over when talking about this, and I read a good piece about this earlier today, is that Killmonger not only wanted to do that, he wanted to have an armed insurrection and arm all black people in the world and like kill everyone, like colonialize white people and pay them back basically for what they've done, like basically start like a world war. And he obviously could not let that happen. T'Challa could obviously not let that happen because
he's got some white friends.
That would be bad. And yeah, I mean, Killmonger, you can totally get where he's coming from, and which is why I'm so glad that he's the most interesting Marvel villain ever. Like, no other Marvel villain would prompt this kind of discussion. So that's a good sign that
he has a character of his own.
That he has a character, and
also,
he
I
makes
love
sense.
every one of his outfits in this fucking movie. The golden cougar thing. Oh
like
my God.
When he was like in the museum, even and like that
streetwear,
I was like, damn, he looks really good right now.
He's wearing like a bunch of shit that I was just
like he's a fly ass like supervillain. Like, he's not wearing like some stupid ass like supervillain costume all the time. He's just wearing like regular street clothes. I'm like, you look really good right now, man. Like, props. But yeah, that's one of the large points, is that not only did he want to open up Wakanda to the world, he wanted to arm people of color to have like an armed insurrection against white people. I don't know, like, specifically if he would like fight against like Asian people or whatever, because that's.
Did he say non-people of color? I don't even remember. I feel like I glossed over that entire part of the movie. He specifically said like the colonizers and stuff. That's what they kept saying. So definitely like Europe and America and stuff, obviously. But did you like Andy Serkis in this movie?
He was fun. Yeah. I'm sad that, spoiler alert, they had to kill him off, but
that's not surprising at all, though.
I mean, yeah, it felt like a natural conclusion to things, because
did you like his little rubber arm that sort of like flipped around a lot?
Yeah, that was fucking freaky.
It was
but it was
weird.
like,
why not just give him a big ray
interesting.
gun on his arm? That would have been cool.
Because it was like, how is he supposed to go around daily life with like a huge fucking like ray gun?
I don't
on
know.
his arm?
Ulysses Claw does it all the time.
I think it's a lot more versatile to have something that's a hand, like a regular hand, that then also turns into like a ray gun when you need it to, right? Like, why not both? It's like a Swiss Army knife. I loved Ulysses Claw, Andy Serkis. He was a lot of fun. Who else did I really like? I like the little
Nyong'o.
sister. Lupita Nyong'o is great.
She's so pretty. And in this movie, like, there were a lot of driving scenes. There were a little too many, to be honest. And I wasn't really certain about why
like
the
in South
car
Korea?
was see-through.
Why the car was see-through?
Yeah, at some points in the movie, you saw the car was see-through, right?
Only when the little sister is driving it remotely from back in Wakanda, because it's supposed to be like a hologram virtualized thing, because she's driving it from back in Wakanda when that car she just hacked into, which is actually over in South Korea. So I think that's what you're talking about.
I feel like I shouldn't have fallen asleep so many times during this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I do admit that like some of the CGI was rougher looking than most like Marvel movies.
That last fight with the suits.
Also, I like his old suit better. I don't know if I'm the only one. I don't like the purple
I love the purple
touch to it. And I also, the eyes and helmet look different. I don't like it as much as the costume from Civil War.
That upside down U shape with the silver. The decals on the suit are so fucking pretty.
I mean, it's still pretty, but I don't know why the Civil War one I thought was so iconic and so cool looking.
I'm so glad that they didn't make, like, I know with Thor Ragnarok, it's basically he's a completely different character than he is in any of the other movies. Which
I like
for
Thor's
the better,
new look.
for
He
the
looks
better,
better in my opinion.
for the better entirely. But it's like, can we be consistent about this character? And I was worried that they were going to make the Black Panther character, because he is the protagonist in the movie, he was going to have to be the funny guy, the straight man, and all these different things combined. But he made some jokes, but he was just like, I'm the king of Wakanda. I got to play this really close to the vest and be very serious all the time. And it's just like, yeah, that's what fucking Black Panther is. Like, he takes things seriously, and he's not a Tony Stark character who's going to be like, wit, charm, wit.
Yeah, definitely. I agree 100%. Like, this movie had, like, I think completely avoided that Marvel trapping of, this is a really dramatic, serious moment, and we're going to undercut it with a stupid fucking joke right now.
Yeah.
Like, that was my big issue with a lot of other Marvel movies.
Guardians humor, basically.
Yeah.
Dance off, bro.
So I'm glad. Yeah, this movie was pretty good in that regard. Okay, I'm going to ask you about a moment that I've seen Reddit, like, fight a lot about.
I may have not seen it because I fell asleep twice.
Okay, did you catch the joke, the what are those joke?
No.
You didn't?
I don't remember that. Which part of it was it?
Never mind. It was when he first comes into the lab and, like, he comes back from that first mission that we see in, like, the opening of the movie, and he says hi to his sister, like, hey, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. Hey, come to the lab. I got all this new tech to show you. And she shows off his new suit, and she also gives him these, like, sneakers, and she's like, haha, they're called sneakers, get it? And then she's also like, bro, your shoes, what are those? And yeah,
was it
basically it?
Was it like, what are those?
Yes, yep.
Damn.
100%. Yeah.
That was a little.
I thought it was really.
That's a little heavy-handed.
It sounded a little heavy-handed, also because that meme is really old. Which
did they start shooting this in like 2014?
Yeah, probably.
4 years
this movie
ago?
started filming, not 4 years ago. Sorry, this movie started filming what, like 2 years ago, like right after Civil War came out. So, I feel like that probably wasn't as dated as it was back then, but that joke is not gonna age well. I can tell. Like 20, 30, 50 years from now, film scholars are gonna look at that joke and just be like, "What a peculiar joke about shoes."
Yes, what are those shoes? Indeed.
But I thought it was funny. My theater got a laugh out of it. I didn't think it was a big deal. I know a lot of people like YMS on Twitter were like, this joke is the dumbest thing ever. It was so cringy. I literally cringed out of my skin.
People need to fucking lay off that word. There are things that are cringy, but people use that word to describe fucking everything now.
Yeah, it's.
I went to the McDonald's and they didn't have ice cream, so it was cringing the entire time. It's like, what does that mean to you? Is it like just general negativity? Is that what you're expressing? Because cringe means a pretty specific thing to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Embarrassment, secondhand embarrassment, usually.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna keep talking about Michael B. Jordan because, well, actually, first we should talk about Chadwick Boseman because it's funny that everyone's just talking about Michael B. Jordan and not Chadwick Boseman, who's the lead of the movie. Everyone's just like
Michael B. Jordan's fucking jacked.
Yeah, dude. Chadwick Boseman was good, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, he was great. He did great job.
It's
like,
a passive. It's a passive. It's
a very passive role.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't give you like really room to. Flex
Maybe
your
that's what
acting
happens
muscles.
when you have such a compelling argument coming from your villain and having him played by such a great actor.
Yeah, exactly. And so to go back to Killmonger as a character and Michael B. Jordan just selling that role. Having that interesting conversation of the African American experience versus the African experience, and him being like, you don't actually know what it's fucking like to like grow up black in America, police brutality, like drugs, violence on the streets, like all this shit. Like you have no idea what any of that is or like what any of us go through. And I was like, damn, yeah, he's right. And then like he makes all these like good points, like you had the ability to like stop this or like help your like black brothers and sisters all over the world. You had like because Wakanda could have stopped
it's
slavery and
though.
colonialism if they wanted to, but instead they decided to hide and preserve themselves.
Is that a decision that they talk about when they really?
I mean, it wasn't like an explicit decision, but Wakanda's been hiding for so long.
For how long?
Since they mentioned like a ridiculous, basically for as long as like Africa's been a continent.
Really?
Is for what I gathered. Yeah, from the beginning of the movie, the tale starts with like all these like ancient tribes, and then the vibranium meter comes down, and then eventually.
So Wakanda wasn't a thing until the meteor.
Yeah.
Why is it that I didn't see any of this? Did I fall asleep for the entire movie?
I don't know, man. Go back and watch it again if you have to, because there's a lot of details. But yeah. So, and I thought that was really interesting.
Well, the point he's saying is just like, why didn't you do anything? It's just like. T'Challa didn't have the wheel until recently. He wasn't under control.
Yeah,
like give him a break. It was his dad, who was probably also a little more conservative, considering he's coming from a previous generation. Like, if you want to shoulder the blame, give it to his dad.
That's another thing they talk about. That's a big theme of the movie because both of their dads. I'm not sure if you caught this if you were asleep, but Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan are actually cousins. Like, Chadwick Boseman's dad, King T'Chaka, who was killed in Civil War, way back when, actually killed Nobu. I think that's Michael B. Jordan's dad's name or something. He's played by Sterling K. Brown. And he kills him because he stole some vibranium and brought it to America and was going to use it to make weapons and start, like, quite literally like a black revolution, blah, 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 just like Michael B. Jordan wanted to.
Wait, does it show a younger T'Chaka in a cutscene? What is it that what?
Did you even watch the movie?
I was
trying to
okay.
At this point?
To be fair, it was like 3 a.m. It was like a really late.
Okay. But yeah, that whole, and then obviously Michael B. Jordan is raised alone in poverty in Oakland, and there's this great scene between T'Challa and T'Chaka where he's like, how could you like leave that child alone? And T'Chaka's like, I was thinking about Wakanda. And like, just like, they have such a great like dramatic moment of being like, hey, you know, how could you do this? Blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like dealing with the ramifications of your consequences and now your actions, and now you're dead and I have to deal with this shit.
It feels like a passing of the torch between Bush and Obama. It's a classic sins of the father tale and issue. And I just thought that was incredibly interesting. Here, deal with all this stuff now. I'm gonna die. Goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I can't like talk enough about this movie. I can keep saying the same things that like Michael B. Jordan was an amazing villain and that he made so many great points. In the end, the movie justifies some of his views. Like Michael B. Jordan is this like far extremist person who's like, I'm gonna start a black World War, Black Uprising across the entire world, because Wakanda didn't share their shit, and they should, and we're going to do that to start this war. And T'Challa's like, that's not a good idea. And then by the end of the movie, he sees like the error of his ways and all like the wrong Wakanda has done. And he's like, okay, Wakanda's going to open up to the world, and we're going to actually help people, but we're not going to start an uprising, because that would be a terrible idea. So it's just interesting seeing everyone has an arc. Everyone grows in this movie. It's great. The more I think about it, the more I like this movie. When I came out of it, I was like, oh yeah, that was really good. Like, I really liked that. And then the more I think about it, it just holds up to scrutiny, you know? Like, I like a lot of movies coming out of theaters, but the more I think about it, I'm just like, maybe that wasn't so good after all.
Was the woman in the Black Mirror episode, The Black Museum, in this movie?
Yes, that was
the sister,
his
right?
Sister.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I recognized her.
Yeah, and Daniel Kaluuya, who was also in Get Out, obviously, was also in 15 Million Merits in like season 1 or season 2 of Black Mirror. Before it was a Netflix thing, back when it was a
the
British
treadmill thing.
Yeah,
or the bicycle thing.
Yeah, yeah. This movie had fucking everyone. It was great. I loved it. Go check it out, Black Panther, if you haven't already. We kind of already spoiled.
Chris Brown liked it.
Chris Brown liked Black Panther. Don't let that stop you from seeing it, though.
I don't know if he actually asked somebody. Well, Chris Brown tweeted a picture. He said, "Love the film" or something, and then someone had edited his picture onto the Black Panther suit.
I don't know who did that. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Brown got someone on his team to do it himself. It was fucking dumb, though. It was real dumb.
Such a fucking asshole.
Chris Brown, no one wants you to take away from this moment where everyone's happy. No one wants you to rear your ugly ass head. I saw a great response to that tweet. It was like, Black Panther doesn't beat women, though.
He respects people, yeah.
He respects people, unlike Chris Brown.
People really love to dial down what he did to Rihanna. They really beat the fuck out of her for a long time on their drive home.
I knew some girls that were like some real Chris Brown apologists in high school. It was bizarre.
There's still
I was like,
fucking people under his replies calling him daddy and shit.
Yeah, it's
Can't wait for the next
I
album.
don't understand. Yeah. It's funny. So I'm actually going to tell a story. Last semester in my online journalism class, we had a Skype special guest from this producer from ABC News. He produces Good Morning America. And I don't know if you remember, but Chris Brown had like a meltdown on Good Morning America after he beat Rihanna. Like, that was the controversy at the time. And he sat down with like an exclusive interview with Good Morning America. And that's when they asked him about, like, why'd you do this awful thing? Like, how do you feel? Blah, blah, blah. How could you do this? And he gets so mad that they're asking him about this because he just wants to talk about his album and be like a selfish fucking idiot.
How long after was it from the beating?
It must have been like a week or a month. I don't quite remember actually.
Fucking cunt.
Yeah. And he gets so mad that he just walks off the interview, throws a chair out of the window onto Times Square, like, you know, the classic, like, yeah, throws it out, breaks the window, takes his shirt off, and like just leaves, walks down the public New York City street with his shirt off, just like looking mad as shit.
This will prove him wrong. I'm not crazy and violent.
What a fucking idiot. And yeah, anyways, the point of the story is that the guy who we Skyped with was producing that interview that day, and he was like, yeah, it was fucking crazy. People asked us to not ask anything about the beating, but we told them we definitely would not do that, as in we wouldn't hold back on questioning. And they were like, okay, please don't, or else we're going to have to pull out of this interview. And they're like, you can do that, but we're going to ask about the beating if you want to do it. And then they're like, okay, we figured it all out. We can stick to the meeting and you can ask whatever you want. And they fucking do the interview and Chris Brown blows the fuck up. So...
What a fucking crazy psychopath.
Couldn't be a nicer guy, surely. All right, let's not.
It's
let
amazing
Chris
how
Brown...
people would look past so much of like just toxic behavior based on assuming looks. He's not the talented,
doesn't even
most
have to be
person in the world.
Looks all the time. People excuse shitty behavior for anyone that they want to,
whatever you find
reason.
appealing about the person, whatever it is you like, you'll pretty much shelve all of these horrible things that they've done.
Donald Trump has had like countless affairs and probably sexually assaulted people, and people still vote for him and love him vehemently. So, Just goes to
And
show
even
you.
I said that Louis C.K. is still funny. I feel like a shit bag for that. I mean, like, he's,
you piece of shit.
factually still funny. But
yeah, I mean, actually, no. A lot of his old jokes now are fucking creepy.
they are creepy.
Like when especially when he talks about masturbating. I was like,
exactly. When he starts
you
talking
had
about
a
Jack Mal.
fixation this whole time, and now it's really weird that you're telling these jokes.
It's we're just gonna start talking about all the shitty people that exist.
Yeah, let's not do that.
You want to talk about Pierce Morgan, another shitty person that exists?
Let's take a respite from that. Can you tell me about this Rainbow Six Zombies thing?
Oh, okay.
That I've been seeing floating around. It looks cool. Is it a Nazi zombies kind of
No.
mode, or what is it?
Fuck that.
Enlighten me.
So basically, Rainbow Six is a video game where you play as a counter-terrorist organization called Rainbow Six, which is the team name, and it's a long series, but this is the most recent edition. It's called Rainbow Six Siege, and you can break down doors, and it's all about defending a house or attacking a house. And the most recent update that's been teased in trailers is that somewhere below New Mexico, south of New Mexico, there was some kind of outbreak of some kind of alien virus due to a USSR capsule landing and someone picking it up and driving it away from the crater, and like it released some kind of infection and it spread rapidly. And Team Rainbow is the first to be called to respond because they're like super lethal or something like that. And you get these really cool trailers with Ash, which is one of the names of the people, and Thermite and Doc, and like Doc is like examining a piece of flesh from one of the things that they killed, and Ash is like, so what have we got? It's just like really cool because it's like these characters don't have any story other than their little bios when you select the character, and you finally get to see them do stuff. And Doc was like vehemently like, yeah, so we need to go and save this doctor, right? We're gonna go save a doctor who's been working on this stuff and extract her, right? And then Ash is like, well, I don't know. And then Thermite has recommended several times that we could just nuke the site. Like he could why don't we just blow it up? And then one of the Russians laughs and goes, and then Thermite says, it's like, well, it's not the first time we use a nuke in New Mexico. It's just like they're teasing all these little Black Ops things, operations that happened. But yeah, it's just like a new game mode where you fight monsters. I don't really care about that much. I just care more about learning about characters.
Is it the same game mode where someone plays as the zombies or something?
No.
Or like I don't understand how they're going to change. How are they going to change the formula? Where
well, it showed
different.
gameplay, and there's this building, and you're put into the site with 3 people or 4 people, I can't remember, and they're all attackers or defenders. I can't remember exactly. And you go and you try to secure this doctor, and all the way you're going to be shooting bad guys. And when you get to the doctor, you have to secure the room because more monsters are going to come attack you. So it goes from attacking to defending to, then you're going to move the doctor, and one of the people has to carry him. And when you're carrying a hostage, you only get to hold your pistol. So it's now your 2 guys are defending one guy who's defending the woman. And you go through the full facility. But there's not much gameplay out yet. It's pretty recent.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's
I'm definitely looking forward to that. I need to get into that game, but I'm gonna wait until I get my Xbox. I feel like I should buy. What?
When are you getting an Xbox?
When I come home from the summer, like first thing, pretty much. I'm just not doing it now. Yeah, I'm just not doing it now because transporting it back down home would be dumb and a lot of work. But I was like, okay, if I land a job this summer that's really good, I'm gonna buy myself an Xbox finally, so I can fucking play some cool shit with you guys. And I finally landed a cool job much earlier than I anticipated for this summer, so I'm gonna fucking buy that. And maybe I'll even fucking buy myself a Nintendo Switch while I'm at it.
You should get a Switch just for the Mario Odyssey and Zelda.
No, I know. I'm definitely gonna get one. I'm gonna buy the Xbox for myself, and I don't know. Maybe I'll ask my family to like pitch in for a Nintendo Switch or something for my birthday, which is like in June. So it all works out timetable wise.
The reason I'm sure to some people who are unfamiliar with Rainbow or just not games in general, this is significant for Rainbow because it's all been very non-fiction feeling action where everything is super realistic and serious. And now that they're introducing like an alien virus that turns people into monsters, it's just like, what are we talking about? Rainbow or like Black Ops or something? Like, it's just very interesting. So that's why it's so significant to me.
Do you think if it goes over well enough that they'll make it a permanent game mode instead of like a temporary thing? Because that's what I hate about like Overwatch seasonal events is that there are some game modes in there. There are some game modes in there that I love.
Like
a
horde
lot.
mode. I love horde mode.
Like horde mode is great. During the winter event, like a year ago, there was that thing where you played lockout, but everyone was May.
I hated that.
I personally love that game mode. I thought it was a lot of fun. And there's just so many like fun game modes. Like they had team deathmatch for a week and now it's gone, and I like really enjoyed that personally. So I don't understand why they can't just keep these around. I know it's so people keep coming back to play the new shit, but now there's like just weird dry seasons of shit I don't care about, so I don't like bother playing. Like right now in Overwatch, it's like, oh, you can play capture the flag, but it's the same map all the time.
If it's not like Uprising or Junkenstein's Revenge or those two games where it pretty much changes the entire game to you're not fighting, players anymore, then I'm not interested. I'd rather play like ranked or just quick play or something, because that's what makes Overwatch fun.
Yeah, I mean Uprising was really fun, but after you beat it like 3 or 4 times,
never got
it's
old
just
for
the
me.
same thing. Really,
The difficulty spike was insane, especially for Junkenstein's. It was just like the first 2 modes are like, this is really hard, and then the rest of them are just impossible. I have no idea why people like made it so hard.
Like the jump from medium to hard was nuts.
Was insane. Yeah.
Like medium was pretty easily manageable, and then hard was like, what the fuck? I can't do this. That same thing happens when you're playing. Sometimes I'll do the training mode where you play against AI online with other people, just to like warm up or something. And sometimes I'll play on medium, and I'm like, this is way too fucking easy. Like this is not fun at all. And then I'll like bump it up 1 step to hard mode, and then all of a sudden all the bots have like 100% perfect accuracy. They're like have strategic brilliance of like Stephen Hawking or something, and just completely like wipe us out all the time. It's infuriating. So there needs to be like a step in between medium and hard, or they just need to move hard up to very hard. That's like my only issue with Overwatch is like difficulty scaling when it comes to AI based game modes. There's no like stepping stone. It's just a huge fucking
so you
like,
use
mountain.
like the training modes for actual training?
No, just to warm up, really. Well, I guess
I really can't.
Yeah.
There's so much difference between how the robots play and how people play, because I
Definitely.
can count on people being stupid and doing like, you can predict what I know it sounds weird because it's like you can't predict. You can normally very easily predict what an AI will do. It's just like, I know, but that's not what I want. I want like someone who's stupid. I want someone who's really stupid and like like someone who will think the way I do, and like, oh, I know that this corridor leads to a branch, but everybody always comes out from this end, but an AI might go the other way. So I want to go with the human who's an idiot.
Yeah. I use the AI emotes to train with new characters that I'm maybe not used to. Like I was using
You gotta throw yourself into the crucible. You gotta make it all hard for yourself immediately.
I was using Hanzo, and I was using Widowmaker just to like fuck around, because like I want to fuck around, but I also don't want to like have other people get fucked over because of like how shitty I am with these characters. So I go in there and like try to like get more comfortable with them before I go back out and like do quick play and shit like that. So anyways, that's just my personal like philosophy and take on it.
You're dumb.
Yeah, I've never played Overwatch competitive because I have a hard enough time winning like regular games as it is, because I just play by myself and have to deal with randoms all the time. So yeah, whatever. I'm also not that great, but I do my best. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, do you want to talk about Adam Rippon? You seem to be a big fan of his.
I love Adam Rippon so much.
So tell me
I don't know what the subject would be. I literally just said that as a joke. I mean, he's the coolest shit ever. Like, and also he got fucking shafted for the gold. I thought there was a big push for people saying it was just like Adam just killed it, and everybody else was sort of mediocre. I don't understand why people are, they got voted for over him. I really didn't watch, but I believe them because I like Adam.
Yeah, like figure skating is a weird sport in that I watched this whole Vox video on how figure skating is scored and stuff by judges and stuff, but it's a very subjective sport, which is kind of bullshit. Well, I mean, there's some metrics they grade on that makes it a little more objective, but it's still weird. Like, there's definitely skill involved, but then there's also lots of artistic interpretation to do.
Like a creativity bar, as it's like, how creative you were. It's like, how do you measure creativity? Well, it's all visual and sometimes sound based. It's like, I don't really know. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, 100%. So that's why I'm like, figure skating seems weird, because like I'd be pissed if I felt like I gave my heart out for a performance, and the crowd obviously loved it, and everyone loved it. But then some judge who maybe just wanted to spite me or was just having a bad day for whatever reason could literally just give me a shitty score and not face any repercussions. Yeah, so it's super annoying. It's not like skiing or snowboarding where you're time based and you can just do it based off of an objective time. It's just how good were you at landing that jump there? I don't like the song you picked. I'll knock a point off for that.
I don't know how you could take out the human element of judging, though. Because putting aside that you'd have to give them sensors that could completely understand what the subject is doing, you'd have to give it, like, examples of good and examples of bad. And, like, when you're cooking a cake, a good and a bad cake, if they look alike but they taste different, how are you going to teach a robot to know that? Like, and with a performance on ice, is just like, I guess the movement would have to. What if it's a completely new movement and the robot doesn't know what the good version of the movement is because there's no other version of it found because it's completely new. Like, that kind of stuff would be hard to teach a robot, but I want it to be a robot because it'll be completely objective and flat and it won't have any biases. Like, if it's like, I don't like his hair, I don't like that hair at all, and it's just like no bias will be involved, and I feel like that would be better.
But then I'm also worried about what happens when the robot sees something it doesn't recognize. Like, someone just gets really creative and does some crazy shit.
Really
like, how can a
shit.
robot account for that? Or how can a robot, who decides to put into the robot what is good and what is bad? You know?
You just make HAL 9000 the skating judge.
Exactly. Or Karen from SpongeBob, one of the skating judges.
Oh, just like, I love her accent in that show. It's just like, nah.
She's like I've like watched clips of that show now on Twitter all the time, and I was like, Karen is like my favorite character. Like, she did not give a fuck. Like, she'll just shit on Plankton all the time for being an idiot. I'm like, you're a real one, Karen. You're the best.
My computer wife.
Figure skating is fun. Oh, I saw this fucking amazing. Do you remember when Plankton ate holographic meatloaf?
Yeah,
like a hologram.
It's the struggle loaf.
Oh, when I saw that, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. He's not eating real food. And I saw a tweet explained to me. Yeah, then I saw plankton exists off of photosynthesis, and holograms are made of light, which is why plankton is eating a hologram of meatloaf. I'm like, whoa, shit.
That's
actually the woke
why
shit. That's the woke
people
shit
decided to do that, but sure. Yeah.
Whatever. It was a clever workaround of logic. So yeah. Anyways, that's completely off topic based on the Olympics we were discussing. You said you wanted to talk about Pierce Morgan and John Oliver.
Oh yeah, I had the tweet right here. Hang on.
Bring it out. Let me see what you got. Show me your moves.
Shit, it's gone.
Do you want me to bring it up?
No, I got it.
Find it. Okay, never mind.
Okay, Pierce Morgan tweeted, watching John Oliver repeatedly say "we" and "us" when discussing America is comical. Mate, you were born in the Midlands to a pair of Liverpudlian parents and speak in a thick Brummy accent. You're about as American as cricket and mushy peas, you shameless old fraud. And as usual, Pierce Morgan's a fucking idiot, and I just thought it was annoying. And it was a whole discussion about why it's okay that John Oliver is allowed to say "we" and "us" when discussing American values and stuff, because he has lived here for like 11 years, and he's an
American citizen.
He's got a son born in America.
Yeah, like, there's no. You could, I don't know.
If you live here, you're an American.
If you live here, you're an American. Especially if you're an American citizen, like he is. You're obviously an American, so you can say "we." That's just such a fucking dumb argument to make.
It's interesting because
bound to lose.
I thought Pierce Morgan would be on the side of, go ahead and be you're an American. Like, I'm exiling you away from the great land of Britain. It's like, but no, he is against the idea of him leaving his roots or something. I don't know.
It's fucking dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Pierce Morgan is just a general idiot. It's funny because he was an idiot over in the UK for a long time, and then they sent him over to America, and he had his own show on CNN for a little bit. And what's weird is that I used to like watch his show on CNN because he had some pretty interesting interviews, and I never got the feeling that like he was a bad guy. Like, he never said anything stupid or controversial while he was on CNN. So I don't know if that was like producers reeling him in or what. But then after a show ended, like, I just see him say this stupid shit all the time on Twitter. Granted, his show was before Trump, so I don't know if he jumped on that like anti-SJW fucking like
His
you know
profile
own the
picture is a
libs
picture of him and
bandwagon.
Trump, so.
Yeah, I think he just wants to own the libs, and that's what he lives for now. So
These libtards are going to take down America. Let me tell you.
yeah, so he can go fuck himself. Who gives a shit what he has to say about anything? John Oliver is an actual intelligent person who.
His show is so fucking good.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the new episode. It came back recently.
I love that, like, most people in their, like, I don't know, he makes jokes that are completely self-deprecating, and most hosts don't do that. Like, Conan does that sometimes, but it's just like, we're not here to think that you're so great. It's just about the humor, and it's about what he's presenting. It's about the show, and it's not about him. John Oliver is a great host, but it's like the show is the subject, not him. It's great.
Do you think John Oliver is a journalist?
I couldn't tell you because I don't know if he does any of the research. I know that he's got an enormous team working with him, so I couldn't say. Like, HBO is a huge company, so.
He does have a team, but a lot of hosts and anchors like Jake Tapper and whatever, they also have huge teams behind them. Like, they don't do it all by themselves, you know?
What qualifies as a journalist to you? Because to me, unless I can see in the background and understand what kind of things he does, he just presents the information. I think maybe that makes him a reporter.
Do you think Philip DeFranco is a journalist? Because Philip DeFranco has a big team of researchers behind him too, and he presents the information.
It's not like I'm saying he's an idiot. He's not a journalist. It's just that I don't know does journalist fit his description well.
I think I would say, yeah. I would honestly say anyone who
drudges up information and presents it to the public.
Drudges up information, presents information with analysis to the public. Yeah, is a journalist. That's like the standard.
Journalist. What? Can you break apart that word and tell me what it means?
Journalist. That's like heavy.
Let's
start with like the fucking definition.
Because I might think someone is something and then find out that's the definition of a journalist, and I just, okay, then they're a journalist.
A person who writes for newspapers, magazines, or news websites, or prepares news to be broadcast.
Prepares news to be broadcast. There you go.
Yeah, so it's pretty vague. I mean, yeah, it's not like doctor, where anyone can really say they're a doctor. There's a pretty low barrier to entry.
That's a very
with people
almost
who can...
specific definition, isn't it? It's like someone who works on the news and only does news things on TV. It's just very specific. I feel like a journalist.
Anyone that's like involved with the news.
The news isn't even always what he covers. He could cover something from 2007. This is not news.
That's still news if it's, bringing up something new or tackling an issue.
Something to light. I wouldn't qualify as news. When I think of news, I think of something that just happened.
Bringing something to light is absolutely news. Documentaries and stuff, that's all journalism.
I call it journalism, yeah.
Yeah, so even though it happened like years ago, like, I don't know, what's that Russian doping documentary, Apollo?
I don't know.
On Netflix? Or what's your favorite documentary?
Blackfish.
Blackfish is journalism.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so, and even though, that happened years ago, it wasn't like exactly 100% recent when it came out, so, yeah, I would say that absolutely qualifies. But I think the main point of contention when people are talking about John Oliver is, and the same thing goes for people like Jon Stewart as well, is, are they a comedian first or are they a journalist first?
With John Oliver, with Jon Stewart, so many Johns, with Stephen Colbert, these people are very, very, like most often when they're on other shows, can show that they have the muscles that can flex to show that they're informed. I feel like if they were just puppets for like people to give scripts, that I wouldn't qualify them as journalists. But every time Jon Stewart goes on a show and gets interviewed, people expect him just to make jokes, and then he'll throw out 6 different facts about the thing they're talking about. It's just like, oh, so you didn't know this? Well, here's another thing I want to tell you. Like, yeah, so I feel like it's nothing to sneeze at, but, like, I don't know if journalist is the word.
I think John Oliver leans into the journalism aspect of it
more
than Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert ever did.
Because they're entertainers. First.
Yeah. And I think it's useful for them to use their like comedian and entertainers angle when they're, when people are being like, oh, you're not real journalists, you're just comedians or whatever. Like whenever Fox News gets into like a tizzy about, oh, the left mainstream media, John Oliver dissing Trump again, and John Oliver can just be like, I'm not the fucking media, I'm just a fucking like comedian. I'm like a fucking entertainer.
I'm not so sure I'm okay with that. There is
me neither. It prompts an interesting discussion of, well, I'm like, well, you're kind of both. Honestly, you have to like own up to that role.
There's always like we should probably go to like fan stuff, but like, when Jon Stewart went on Crossfire, which is the most toxic fucking show that has ever existed, which is just two people who consistently like we're gonna bring on someone of a differing opinion, and then we're gonna yell at him for like 20 minutes. That thing I brought up to you, where it's just like we're gonna bring him on and then cut away from him.
Yeah.
And Jon Stewart says like this isn't helping. This is not like constructive. And when he brought up is like you have a responsibility to be honest and bring up good facts and arguments to the American people because this is your platform. And then someone said to him, it's just like, don't you have the same responsibility? And he says like, well, I'm on Comedy Central. It's just like, yeah, but you're Jon Stewart. Shouldn't you consistently think that you have some kind of responsibility when you have that big of an audience? Because that's the point you just made towards them. I mean, they may be the dumbest show on the planet, but still.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, well, they do like to. It's hard because they will be like, I just make fun of you guys and like make jokes to make people happy. Like I talk about the news and make fun of it, so people can like have like an escape or like.
It's not always an escape though.
Breathe
John Oliver's whole thing,
not...
like he literally makes a point to say this is going to be a really depressing subject, and I want you to know about it. So at the end of this, we're going to watch a hamster eating a tiny burrito. Like that's like he's basically saying, I know this sucks, but I want you to know. So at the very end, we're going to let you watch this. It's like, yeah. There is something there about like, oh, we're just making jokes, but are you just making jokes? Is that the objective of your entire program?
Yeah, exactly. And I wrote a paper about this my freshman year, but it was really shitty because I was a freshman writing a paper. But
you're saying I'm a shithead?
Yes, you are. But yeah, I don't know where that line is. I definitely don't think they can hide behind that facade of comedy as much as they want to, but I also don't think they're as I don't think you can hold them accountable as the same way you
not
can
as
hold
much
other
as
journalists
Fox News or
accountable.
CNN. I totally understand that.
Yeah,
but just saying that, like, oh, I have no responsibility at all to say the best things, but you totally do because you are the label on your thing says specifically news, and mine is Comedy Central. So why would I need to say the right things?
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's jump over to fan stuff.
Wait, let me not do emails. I'm gonna do my thing.
What are you doing?
I have stuff on my Instagram. You son of a bitch.
Okay, you piece of fucking garbage.
Okay, this is from Finish Him on Instagram. I'm lazy as fuck, but yeah, what music are you into? It's the most important question to ask anyone. What music are you into?
I really like this band called Coin. I know I've mentioned them before. I just went to their concert last week. They were great. I like Kendrick Lamar, like getting into Vince Staples now. Rap, hip hop, and like alternative indie rock, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's usually what I go for. Probably lean more into like the rap and hip hop side of things. I'm not like the most musically proficient person. I typically like what a lot of other people like as well. Like Drake's 2 new singles that came out. I fucking love those songs, and I know a lot of people like to shit on Drake or whatever, but I don't care. Those songs are really fucking great, and they're bangers, and I don't care. So yeah, that's just my perspective.
I like rap, hip hop. I like a lot of old music. I like folk songs. I really don't like new country music. There's old country songs that are really good. Specifically, my favorite bands are Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, Run the Jewels. Recently, it's been a lot of Tyler the Creator. Flower Boy's probably the favorite thing I listened to over the summer besides Damn. I listen to a lot of rap recently, especially for working out. But yeah, so that's my shit. How about you? Read an email now. We're going back and forth.
All right.
Thank you for the question, Finish.
Close my phone. This is from Destiny. Hey guys, my name is Destiny. I'm a recent listener to the podcast, but I love it so far. I don't really play video games, but I love y'all's discussions about the DC and Marvel universes, as well as your more serious topics like gun control last week. We got a lot of good notes about our discussion on gun control, by the way. So thank you to everyone who appreciated that. I know it was a serious topic, but I'm glad you guys got something out of it. Anyways, moving on. I'm from Austin, Texas originally, but I've lived in Florida for almost 2 years now for college. I think one of the reasons I love listening to y'all is that I've pretty much been surrounded by very conservative people my entire life. It's nice to be able to listen to people who I can actually agree with for a change and who can make me laugh at the same time. Also, I have a few questions, and if y'all have already answered them, then you don't have to answer them again. I probably just haven't listened to that episode yet. My talents don't include drawing, so some questions are going to have to do. Thank you. What soda can is being opened every episode?
Coke Zero.
Pretty sure it's Patrick. I'm just curious.
It's
just to
Coke
know what
Zero.
it is. Yeah, we mentioned that a lot in the earlier episodes, so I'm sure you might have found out by now, but Patrick is constantly drinking Coke Zero, so if you hear him crack open.
I brush
We used
my
to make
teeth
jokes
every
about
morning
it.
and every night. I'm not going to lose my teeth.
Yeah, we used to bring it up every time, but it happens so often.
It's a lot better than people say. It's a lot better than people say. I'm just saying that. Anyway, yeah, that's what the Coke is.
Are y'all into unsolved mysteries or anything like that? And if you do watch them, do you watch them on YouTube? I really like the Lord and Arts channel, and if y'all have any other suggestions, I would love to hear them. I do. I like the BuzzFeed Unsolved stuff. Those guys are pretty good for the most part. That's pretty much my only source of unsolved mystery kind of YouTubers. I like True Crime Garage, but those are not unsolved. Those all have resolutions. That's a podcast as well, though.
What does they do?
They just talk about like real life crime stories and will like describe how it happened.
Ooh.
From like
Dramatically?
beginning to end. Kind of. It's more like they're having a conversation and one guy's like going through all the details in the story and the other guy will be like, well, wait, what happened? And maybe he'll like chime in or every now and then.
Oh, that's
But
interesting.
yeah, it's interesting. I really enjoy it. It's good for road trips.
There's a good I don't know about unsolved mysteries, but I like when I look at like scary stuff, I want it to be coming from some kind of real thing, and learning about natural disasters and like I don't know, like one thing that I watched it was a video about this dude who went to cave crawling or diving, and it was basically some narrow thing that he got caught in, where it was just like an hourglass shape, and in the very center he was stuck, and it was like an hourglass standing on top of its head, and he was stuck in there for like 18 hours. He couldn't breathe, and the rocks were like, it was like the more he struggled, it was like the more he was caught, because he would breathe out and he would sink slower, like inwards, and his feet were sticking out the top, and he like the fire rescue people got in, they were trying to saw away the rock. He suffocated and died, and they couldn't remove his body because he was still stuck. I don't remember the exact name of the story, but they eventually sealed the cave with cement with his body still in there. And it's just like, wow, that is like particularly creepy. That kind of like hairs on your arms standing up stuff. Like real life lore does a lot of that really well. It's just like bringing up possibilities of like terrible things that could happen and what's going to happen in the next 50 years, things that will fall apart, like dams breaking and killing millions of people. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm into, I guess.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, that's fucking creepy as shit. And her last question is, for Yammin and Alex, rip Yammin who's not here, but I guess we'll ask him later. What are y'all's majors and what do you want to do with them? This has been asked before, I believe, but I'm studying journalism. I know Yammin is studying computer science, specifically on a video game development focus or track or something
Game
like
design,
that.
something like that.
Yeah. I'm studying journalism specifically. I've recently more gotten into like digital online multimedia content production. So like, should people actually care about these days? I currently work at for an NPR show called On Point. It's pretty great. Check it out. It's a news analysis show, and I just got a job over the summer with CBS News, so that'll be lit. That'll be a good time.
Are you deleting the ones that you're reading?
Yeah, I can.
You
do
didn't
that.
do it. I knew it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and swipe that. Do you want me to read another email, or should you go?
Oh wait, yeah, I forgot. There's a helicopter. Do you hear it?
No. Are there police searching for someone?
Probably, yeah. I mean, this is Northern Virginia. There's always somebody.
Thank you again, Destiny, for your. I hope that's your name. I like archived your email, so I can't find it.
Why'd you
anymore.
archive it? Just delete it.
That's like the same shit.
I don't know. Shut up. Anyway, MLU16 on Instagram said, if you could have one superpower, what would it be, and what would you do with it? I think I have something about this.
Yeah, we've definitely answered that.
No. Go ahead. What
No.
kind of superpower do you want?
I would have the Danny Phantom power set.
Really?
Is what I like to say. Oh, 100%, dude. Invisible, face through walls, fly, shoot beams. All you need. That's all you'll ever need in life. Possess people? Even better. First thing I would do if I had those powers, I'd possess Donald Trump, go into a mic, say some crazy shit that would get me, like,
nothing you could
arrested.
say would be worse than anything he's already said.
Oh, I would really go balls to the wall with some, like...
You would already have people walking out saying, he's like, I'm glad that he speaks his mind. He tells it like it is. Even if you said it's like, I want to kill every baby on the planet, it's just like, oh, I'm finally somebody saying it.
Well, I'm glad someone said it.
Exactly. Owning the libs.
But yeah, no, exactly. Like, it's just like the perfect power set. Obviously, you're not like invulnerable and stuff. So if someone shoots you, like when you're not a ghost, well then, are you already dead? Is he already dead?
Who?
Is Danny Phantom technically dead?
No, he's just got the half the biology of a ghost. That's what I always thought.
I wonder what the mortality aspect of that is. But anyways,
But he's gonna live
I would
forever.
I would have that power set.
Oh, but wait, when they did the Kronos episode, they showed that he does age. Because they showed his older version of him.
Well, I guess that's fine. I'd still like the power set for while I'm here, as long as it doesn't like come with a curse or anything like that.
Oh, well, what I do is I want flight, and that's it.
Damn, dude. Could have been a little bit more ambitious than that.
I could have chosen a character and gotten like 8 different powers, but I feel like flight's the best because you could just do whatever you want. There's no way to catch me if I want to.
The Air Force would shoot you down.
I'm not gonna do anything super illegal, mostly.
Just a little.
I'm gonna be low key as fuck about it.
All right. This is an email from Rachel. I'm Rachel. Not sure what format these are supposed to be in. Is it a letter? Who knows? I really enjoyed the podcast. You guys are really funny, and it's empowering to know people agree with my opinions. I hope that didn't sound narcissistic. I went to a Catholic university in Florida, so I was surrounded by people with radically
Did you just
different
read that
ideals than
again?
me. No, this is like a different email.
Are you serious?
But it sounds very similar. Yeah. Yeah, crazy, right? I went to a Catholic university in Florida, so I was surrounded by people with radically different ideals than me, and while I found a group of like-minded friends, sometimes when all you hear is the other side, you get disheartened that others think like you. Anyways, it's a really great podcast. What's the best worst thing a boss has ever done to you or someone else in your past jobs? I ask because my last boss is an ass who screams at and belittles his employees. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, Rachel. I feel like I'm trying to think back on our pool days. If we ever had a really bad... Who was our supervisor?
Oh.
That was...
You can't name them.
I'm not going to name them, but do you remember the supervisor in the red shirt?
Yeah. They were pretty...
Yeah.
Wait, you mean the old man?
Oh, he was a huge fucking asshole, actually.
Yeah, he was...
But I'm talking about the other lady.
Cunty. The other lady.
You know who I'm talking about.
Oh,
I would like name them.
Who was like flying in the helicopters, and she talked about that all the time.
She's like an EMS or something.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, like besides that,
I feel like she was less annoying than some of the people that we worked more closely with.
It really largely depended on her mood. Sometimes she'd be in a good mood. Other times she would
That's
come
why
to the pool and
people.
fuck your shit.
It's like,
yeah, I'm
gonna use this like power that I have to take out my stupid fucking mood on these people that I work over, cunts. Anyway, the worst thing that it wasn't a boss, but when I was in New York, I had just gotten back from a show, one of the 2 shows that I did in New York, and I was really, really fucking tired, and I went to sleep in my room for like 10 minutes. I just wanted to take a really quick nap, close my eyes, and then I woke up, and I had one text, and it was from one of the people at the agency, and they said, I need you to go somewhere. There's a possible job or something like that. And then 2 minutes or 3 minutes later, I got another text, which was, I needed you just a second ago. You lost a job. It was just like, what? I was asleep for like 5 seconds. Is this really that unreasonable for me to believe? And then, yeah, it was just really annoying.
That's so fucking shitty. God, that's annoying as fuck.
Oh no, I wasn't asleep for 5 minutes. It was like an hour, but still, an hour? And
yeah, that's fucking annoying shit. Okay, do you want to do one more Instagram thing and then call it a day?
Call it a nut.
I want to go eat dinner.
What are you looking forward to in 2018 from Riley A. Davis?
Ooh, I'm really looking forward to... Isn't that Riley that I talk to frequently?
Riley A. Davis with a period between every name?
No, it's not. Never mind. Different Riley.
I think it might be a guy.
I am very much looking forward to my internship this summer and being back home with the boys and getting an Xbox and having a good time in general. Honestly, my looking forward to things aren't very exciting. I just enjoy the simple things in life, like being with friends and summertime and not being worried about school. Yep, that's about it.
I'm looking forward to a lot of movies, obviously. I don't want to list all of them.
Oh, shit, you're right.
A lot of
that
shows,
too,
a lot of stuff coming out. Games, maybe a few.
Adventures Infinity War, Deadpool 2, all that.
I'm 2018 is like for a long time I've had to for the just a job requirement, I've had to like keep my weight really low, and I don't feel good when I have low weight, because it's just like my ideal body type is like huge, jacked. I want to look like that, and this I'm finally getting the ability to eat again, and it's feeling really good, and I'm looking forward to being super jacked this year, which is exciting to me. I'm eating a lot and lifting heavy weights.
Make Patrick jacked again.
Make Patrick jacked again.
All right, that's our show for this week. Thank you again for listening, guys, to the Prude podcast. If you like our show, please go onto iTunes, leave us a rating. We're almost at 50 ratings. We're up to 45, so last week only got us 1. But I know you guys can go on iTunes or just go on your podcast app right now. Whatever you're doing.
Do it.
Hit those 5 stars. If you leave a funny comment, funny rating, we might read it. And
put a copy paste in there, but you can't be pretty sure it can't be cusses and stuff because it'll delete it. But
yeah,
replace all the cuss words from a copy paste with the word duck, and then put that in the reviews and give us 5 stars.
Please do.
Give us 5 tars.
Follow us. 5 tars.
Tars from Interstellar.
If you want to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, it's at PrudeDudes. If you want to send us emails or business inquiries, it's prudedudes@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on our Instagram or our personal accounts, I'm at AlexPennon97. Patrick is at It's Patrick Charlotte 5.
And Yammin.
And Yammin is at It's_Yammin. Thank you again for listening, guys. See you again next week.